wawate kurete arigato. Guys, here we have the latest release by Damashi Nation's Lancelot Air Cavalry Nightmare Frame by Bandai from the Robot Spirits line. The Lancelot, I'm sure, is not only a personal favorite, but seems to be as well the holy grail of nightmares alongside the Gurren from the animated series Code Geass. The Lancelot, to my liking, already has a superb design all around, so let's see if Bandai was able to capture all of its awesomeness with this figure. Right out of the box, we have the main blister with the figure and a few accessories. We also get this extra blister containing a couple other accessories and the flight unit as well. Like always, we get a sheet with the instructions on how to use this figure and its parts. So now, mite mimasu. So for the accessories, here we have both scabbards, left and right. You're able to fit the swords in each one. It's molded all in white plastic and it has a bit of gray plastic here at the top. This piece here is posable. As you can see, it is on a hinge and this little one is on a ball peg. So you get a little bit of range to be able to pose it better on either side. And yeah, it's a neat thing because it allows it to move around and to be able to not obstruct the pose of the figure. Up next, we have both of the swords that can be fitted onto the scabbards. These are the only ones that will fit because the way they are made. They are painted very well, silver metallic paint on the blade, gold metallic on the crossguard, and a green gem both on the pommel and on the rain guard. Also, where the grip is, you have a bit of gray, or a dark gray rather. They're very well detailed. Even the blade has a crease at the center to divide it. Gives it an extra realistic look. So, both of the swords can be held as well. And here we have the oscillating blades. Now, these are a bright red. Everything else seems to be exactly the same, other than the crossguard, which is now opened up. And well, if you watch the anime, you'll know that these are specifically made to cut other nightmares because of that vibrating mechanism they have at the edge of the sword and allows it to cut through metal. Well, I really don't understand how it works in reality. But anyway, here we have the Varus rifle, molded all in blue plastic. The front sight and barrel plug are in gold and green. Here is the activated version of the Varus rifle, and it's mostly painted in metallic gold. Here we have some chrome bronze pieces for the rifle, and where you have the barrel plug, gold and black. This base support here is able to fold in and out, and well, allows it to just retract a bit, and then it can extend. You remove this front part of the rifle, and you take the opened up one, and as you can see, you have a slot there. All you have to do is put a little bit of pressure, and well, there it is. The full rifle activated. Option posable pieces that are the halfway or midway kind of throwing out slash harkins. They are on gold metallic paint edges and like a brown kind of metallic color on the tip. Also gray plastic for where it's supposed to extend, and the slot you see here is where it's going to fit on to the arm of the nightmare. You get two of these, and one is for each arm. We also get this little gray piece, which is for the stand. It comes along with the blister, which the figure is packed in, and well, it serves its purpose. These are a pair of slash harkins that are meant to be mounted onto the hips of the nightmare. They are on the piece that connects, made out of white plastic. This wire here is bendable, just like every other slash harkin made from Robot Damashi for this Nightmare series. And well, the tip of it is on gold metallic paint as well as kind of like a bronze color. Here we have yet another set of slash harkins, but these are meant to be put onto the arms of the nightmare. Here is this white piece of plastic that connects onto the arm with the slot, And the paint on the edge of the harkin is, well, the same as all of the other ones, gold and a bronze-looking metallic color. These are a set of posing hands that are kind of looking like if they are about to grab something. They are very nicely detailed, all in gray plastic. The lining of the joints looks amazing. Here we have your standard fists. They look great, all in gray plastic, very nicely done, and well, they're always a good option when posing. Up next, we have the gripping hands for the Varus rifle. You get 2 sets, one for each side, and well, they look pretty great, just as all of the other hands this figure comes with. And here are the holding hands for the swords. They are the standard versions because we do get an extra set that have sort of like a weird kind of tilted, well, look to them. So here we have those hands I was mentioning earlier. These have a tilted look to them. That way the sword can be, placed in a more downward position on the figure. Here we have the luminous shield. It is on a light blue see-through plastic that's held at the center with a white piece of plastic that will, hook on to the arm of the Nightmare. It can be placed on either side, and if you have 2 of these figures, as in the anime, it can, be posed with both of them. And finally, here we have the flight unit. It is all molded in red plastic with some paint applications like gold, black, and a kind of weird shiny green that looks amazing, really. But here is the ball peg. You're going to just, pop it in on this side of the wing. And once you've done that, you get the posability of the joint. You get circular movement. This wing looks amazing. It is very well detailed all around. You have the turbine here with all these little molded in details as well as in the wing itself. So the whole wing is really well done and works great as an adaptable part. Let me show you how to quickly exchange this arm piece here with the slash harkin. All you have to do is put a bit of force, and where the slot is, you have to just pop it out. Once you've popped it out, you see you have this groove here. Take the slash harkin piece here, and you're going to divide it because it is composed out of 3 different pieces that layer one on top of the other. Once you've taken off this center piece that holds the other 2 together, you are now able to replace it with the slash harkin in order to have the new set of pieces ready to be installed on top of the arm. Once you've adjusted the slash harkin, you take this center piece here and you press it in order to hold in both the slash harkin piece and the one that's going to be used as support for the arm. Done this, we can take it over to the arm, and in this slot here, we're going to just press it in and adjust it, and once we've done that, here we have the slash harkin placed on the arm. So again, when placing the luminous shield, you have to unmount the pieces that are on the arm, whichever ones you have on, and the same way you're going to just remove the center top piece, which is actually the one that holds everything together. Once you've done that, you can take the luminous shield, and as you can see, the luminous shield has its own little centerpiece that's going to be the replacement support to hold in the other 2 pieces in place when you place it onto the arm. So again, here we have these 2 pieces as well as the halfway thrown slash harkin, and you're going to again mount it on the support base piece, which is this one, and once you've locked it into place, adjusted this little triangle looking shaped slot, then you insert the top piece and it's ready to be mounted onto the arm. So for placing the side slash harkins here on the hips, all you have to do is pop out the ones that come originally with the figure out of the ball socket, and then you replace it with these ones that are very simple to use, and well, just stick it in and you're good to go. So for placing the sword onto the hand, these are the hands that are tilted a bit forward. Just to give you an idea on how it would look, all you have to do is insert it from the top, adjust it, and easy as that. So up next we have the Varus rifle and the trigger hand, and all you have to do is place it in and you're pretty much good to go. You get two of hands for the rifle, so you are able to pose it on either side, left or right. Now for the flight unit, all you have to do is kind of pop it onto the back of the cockpit. You slide it in from the top and let this line here be your guide. It mustn't go over that. Slide it in, press a little bit to adjust the sides onto a slot that the cockpit has on both sides, and that's pretty much it. Lastly, we have these scabbards that will fit onto the side of the cockpit. You have a slot here and a peg that you're going to insert, and once you've done that, well, you still keep that posability that the scabbards had because of the ball joint. You also can now take the swords and slide them into the scabbard, and they fit in quite nicely into the sheath. So this is something very cool they added, and I'm glad we have it. What do you say now we get on to some of the articulation for the figure? So guys, let us now move on to the articulation. Starting off with the head is on a ball joint, so you can move it up and down. You can also move it to the side. It can do a complete 360 turn, and it has this weird back nape stretched out neck. You can move forward, and you do get this tilt side to side. Moving on to the arms, we have this shoulder armor here on a ball joint, and well, as you can see, it's kind of weird because it also combines with, aside from this ball joint, we have a butterfly kind of mechanism here. As you can see, you can push it in and out, and it does give you pretty, great range because of it. This piece here is the arm, and it is on a swivel. It's very tight on mine, and even though, it does move, you have to be a little bit careful because it only moves about up to where this gold piece, crashes into the shoulder armor. But the swivel is tight, but it is there. You can swivel the arm. Up next, we have the elbow, and the elbow is on a single hinge. The range you get isn't pretty good, but it's, done well enough for you to be able to get some pretty great poses. Moving on to the hand is on a standard, ball joint. You have the left and right, up and down, and the whole circular movement there, which is good enough. Next up, we have, this arm piece here is just the same as the other one. I forgot to mention, though, that this shoulder piece here does have an upper and down movement, so you are able to kind of move it around to play with the posing on that side of the upper shoulder. The hip here is on a double ball joint. You have one at the lower torso for where the waist is, and it moves around pretty much, although I wouldn't go too far because it kind of starts to scratch the gray plastic that builds up the lower torso, and you can end up damaging it with time. The upper chest also has a ball joint, as you saw, and it can be moved. So moving on to the leg is on a ball joint. You have pretty good range for the most part, but you have to play around with it because it is on a double ball joint. So you have one that connects to the torso and one for the leg itself, and as you see, you can play with it up and down. That gives it a pretty great amount of range because it moves it out of the way, and these little pieces here are also posable, so that also helps to get them out of your way. You can move them, they are on a ball joint, and if you move them to the side, you'll get a little bit more range in order to be able to perform a better split, although it's still not the greatest split. You can go back about that much, and moving on to the knee. The knee is on a double hinge, so that range you get is probably the best you're getting. Its overall greatness allows you to do awesome poses because, well, the Lancelot is known for moving like a crazy athlete, so that's good to have. Here at the feet, we have this foot on a hinge and a ball joint, so you get the regular movement up and down, and you can also move it a little bit, to side. And it is a little bit weird because even though you would expect it to move like a normal ball joint and hinge would, you have to kind of understand how it works in order to get the most of it. As you can see, some of the armor kind of tends to crash into the foot when you're trying to move it to the side, but with a little bit of care and tenderness, you are able to move it around pretty much. So this armor here that kind of covers the forefoot is also posable, is on a hinge, and you also get, just a regular up and down movement. The land spinner moves outerward and upward because of the ball joint. The wheels do spin, and as any other land spinner for most Nightmare frames, they are on ball joints. As convenient as it is, it does give you the 360 and allows for great posing because it supports the figure overall. So that's it for the articulation. What do you say we get on to some posing? This figure is really great in articulation, I've got to say, but you really have to learn how to use it because if you're not patient and careful, you can end up scratching the figure or even breaking it. I've heard some people complain about how fragile it is, but it all really ends, how you play with it and how you're able to actually get to know the figure to not damage it. Okay, so I almost forgot. Before we go on to the posing, I forgot to say that this chest part for the figure has a hidden gimmick that, allows you to use the fax spheres on the Lancelot. They pop out with just a little bit of force, and they are very well hidden, actually. They look great, and, they are exactly the same as you would see them in the anime. Awesome little gimmick. So, we cannot move on to the posing unless we've taken a hard, close look at this figure to see if Bandai actually was able to capture the awesomeness of the Lancelot. Overall, I have to say I see very few figures with the greatness and aesthetic that this figure has. It is something gorgeous to the eye. It is well done overall in terms of paintwork, almost to perfection. The gold flake finishes just help accentuate even more how well built this figure is in terms to accuracy to the animated version. It holds great appeal overall because of the armor and how each part of the Lancelot was made and placed together. The front of the Lancelot just screams out greatness, and like I said, there's nothing to disappoint in terms of how it looks. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in today. We've reached the end of our video. I hope, like always, I was able to provide some helpful insight on this figure. Now, it's not been so long since it's been released, so I hope you will be able to have a better decision now when you've seen the figure a little bit up closer. And personally, in terms of recommending it, I would only say if you're a hardcore fan and love the Lancelot, pick it up. Otherwise, this figure isn't perfect. It does have a few flaws, and they may turn some of you collectors off. So unless you're willing to overlook these issues, I think you will be okay. If not, well then I really recommend you look elsewhere and, well, not pick up this figure. Other than that, I can't complain about the aesthetic of the figure. It looks great, but anything else you may just have to find out on your own because, well, it changes from, personal perspective. So, guys, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for my next video. Click like if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in the next Zen figure reviews. Sugu ni aimashou.